In this video we will take a look at the slides of thick skin. The slide is stained with periodic acid Schiff for detection of polysaccharides. The surface of our body is covered by epidermis, uh, also called stratified squamous keratinized epithelium, which is composed of some layer of these cells. We will take a look closely to the epidermis. The basal layer, which communicate with basal membrane, contains a cuboidal or columnar shape of cells. Here it's the basal membrane of the epithelium, and the cells which communicate the basal membrane, it's called basal layer of cells. It's cuboidal or columnar shaped of cells. The next layer is called stratum spinosum, which contains polyhedral shaped cells. The next layer, darker layer of these cells is called stratum granulosum. It's here. The cells in this layer contains keratohyalin granules, and the next layer, stratum corneum, it contains cells without nuclei. This is the dead cells product of this epithelium. So this is the stratified squamous keratinized epithelium, and stratum corneum in palms and soles is very thick, whereas in the rest of body. The inferior to the epidermis is the dense, irregular connective tissue called dermis. The dermal papillae are prominent in the thick skin. You can see here dermal papillae, which contains loose connective tissue, and some dermal papillae contain tactile or sensory Meissner corpuscle of Meissner here. These corpuscle or capillary loop. It's mean here. It's a capillary loop in the dermal papillae. Here it's a capillary loop. So deeper in dermis, it's located sweat glands. For example, here, it's a sweat glands. It's a type of skin glands. It's a coiled tubular exocrine glands, and you can recognize two parts of these cells. The secretory part, it's lined by one layer of cuboidal cells. Here it's a lighter secretory part, and the darker part, it's a duct of the sweat glands, and lined by two layers of cuboidal cells. This is the secretory cells of the sweat gland, and here it's a duct, and which continue through the dermis and through the epidermis. Here you can see two ducts of sweat glands which go through the epidermis on the surface. So between the sweat glands you can see dense irregular connective tissue, adipose cells, which has have a nuclei in the periphery. Here and here is a nuclei of these adipose cells, and here it's a trabecule of connective tissue, and the deeper in hypodermis, which contains adipose tissue, you can find the Pacinian corpuscle, for example here, which looks like as a cross section of onion. Here it's another sensory corpuscle called Pacinian corpuscle, Father Pacinian, Pacinian corpuscle. So that's all in the thick skin, which is lined by epidermis, stratified squamous keratinized epithelium, which many layers of the cells, and very thick stratum corneum with dead cells. Dermis, which make the papillae with capillary loops or Meissner corpuscle. Dermis with the irregular dense connective tissue, and the deeper in dermis you can find the sweat glands and Pacinian corpuscle, which looks like a cross section of the onion. So thank you very much.